Hey there, my name is Meredith Michal, and I'm an event sales director for a venue here in Los Angeles. At the end of an event, when the lights fade and the music stops, what do you hope still lingers in people's minds? I think what lingers nowadays are the photos and the content that people take, especially in the events world. You always want to make it picturesque and capture something. But I like the idea of people having an emotion or like a reaction to the visuals and something that they can talk about and leave with. Giveaways are always, people are just going to throw those away. But if they're in that moment and they have a good experience, it's something that they can take with them beyond the photos, something that they'll want to remember and talk about. I don't know if that was even, I don't even know if that made sense. Okay, when you're producing an event, what's the first thing you do to set the tone before any decor or lighting goes up? This sounds very practical, but to set the tone, make sure the run of show is correct. Make sure nothing has changed ahead of time. I mean, you always want to make sure that everything is you got the latest run of show, nothing has changed. That's kind of, it's not a woo-woo answer, but it's a practical answer, is that you want to make sure that everything that you expect to happen is still set to happen. Things are going to go wrong and fires are going to still have to be put out, but as long as everybody's on the same outline, then you're in a good space. Okay, how do you find authenticity in the world built for optics? Oof, well, a lot of events are built on optics these days. I like to work with people that are authentic and kind, and at the end of the day, we're doing a job, but we all have our own personal lives. We all have things outside of work. So when I'm working, I like to get to know the people that I work with as a person, not just as a client or as a product or as a dollar sign. I think that that's what I do differently in my sales and my production, is that I value the person, not necessarily the end result or the dollar amount that goes behind it. The person, the relationship, that's a little bit more fun to me. From fashion drops to music galas, every event has its own pulse. How do you find that rhythm early in the process? I think from the initial contracting stages, you want to ask kind of the goals. What is the client looking for? What is the events, similar to it that we can refer to? What is the goal of? Is it to sell a product? Is it to announce something? Is it to celebrate a moment? And putting that at the forefront of the entire process, making sure that if it is for a fundraiser and it's for them to make money at this fundraiser, how do we position every aspect of the event to cater towards that goal? If it's to announce a product launch, how do we get different aspects of the event to cater to that need? Are we matching colors with the color scheme of the product? Where's every single possible place we can add branding to? Vinyl decals, logos on TV monitors, things like that. Every big night has one unplanned magic moment. What's a time that surprised you? Oh, I did this kind of like a celebration event. I won't name the name of it. I don't know what I can and can't say. But I did this big event where we had Cynthia Erivo attending and presenting an award. And this was right after Wicked had just been released. And she had a mic. And all of a sudden she was bursting out into song with the final song of Wicked. And it turned into like a very viral moment. So it's really cool to always see something that you've witnessed live show up online and be talked about through many different outlets. What's one project that reminded you why you fell in love with live experiences in the first place? Actually, it was a fundraiser, and we were fundraising for the Valley and giving food and financial resources to those in need. And we had not only doubled their goal, we had tripled their goal in that one night. So that really just reminded me kind of like what events can do outside of just photo moments, outside of just Instagram, outside of the stereotypical things, is the deeper purpose behind some of the events that we host. What's the difference between producing for a cause, like a foundation, gala, and producing for a brand campaign? That kind of harpens back to what I was saying. I mean, when it comes to a gala or especially a fundraiser, your target is to make money that night. So getting people really drunk so that they want to open their wallets. With a brand campaign, it's focused on mostly like a product or a launch. And so anything to get hashtags out, photo moments, color coordination, logos, and things like that. Whereas I think, a gala is more of a celebratory aspect and more of a moment and a vibe, whereas the other is a little bit more centered around kind of marketing and campaign reach. How do you decide when to follow the creative vision and when to pivot for logistics or timing? That is a hard one because as the venue side of things, I know the venue best and I know the operations best. Whereas a lot of the times the client will come in with this big idea, this timeline that they have to stick to or they want to stick to for whatever reason, and it's not going to work. And it's just not right for the scenario. My best move is to remind them via email several times, this is not advised. Remind them day of, this is not advised. And then when it comes time and they're like, why isn't this working? You say, here's your plan B. So just have the plan B and know you're gonna go with plan B this entire time, but you gotta let the client think that it's gonna be their plan A. You know the space the best, you know what works and what doesn't work. I'm sure you've seen those things fail in the past and harping on those examples, but I've had to do that a time or two. Always have a plan B for anything, especially if you know it's not gonna work in the first place. What's your strategy for turning a sponsor integration into something that actually adds to the story, not distracts from it? That's a little challenging because sponsorship is the key to a lot of different events. I think putting in small moments, like napkins, you can brand napkins, you can have branded cups, you can have gobos. Gobos are a huge way for sponsors to get their name on things. Like a rolling TV with a video loop of all of the sponsors that have contributed to the event. Even small, like putting in the restroom, a little thank you from whatever sponsor with a little caddy of mints and takeaways. So there's a lot of different ways that don't distract, but still kind of bring a little added sponsor moment that they feel special. And also, you get to add more elements to the event that look like it was intentional and that there was thought put into it. A standard black napkin doesn't look as elevated as something with a gold logo printed on it. What's the best advice you'd give someone who wants to work in the event production world? Definitely start by becoming a BA. So a brand ambassador is used, or a PA, a production assistant. Both are used in live events for kind of like an internship. Whether that be, wrangling talent, whether that's wayfinding guests to and from different scenarios. They have to leave dinner and go to the reception. Hey, right this way. Things like that. You get to see the inside of an event from top to bottom. And then from there, seeing if there's coordinator positions open at any sort of events company, whether that be a production agency, a marketing agency, an experiential agency, venues. So there's different avenues you can take, and whether that be a PA job originally, a coordinator position, starting there and seeing how you can work your way up into a producer role. Every event tells a story. What story are you trying to tell through work? I think that events are going to be, they're super important now, but they're going to be even more important moving into the digital AI world. So I hope that my events legacy is something that goes beyond digital. I hope that, you know, with experiences becoming at the forefront of marketing and the forefront of kind of what people want to see in their nights out, I want to play a key role in getting out, not sitting behind your computer every day, not relying on AI to do all of these jobs, and to have a moment to, you know, get back to the human experience again. What's the most misconception people have about producing large-scale events? I hope nobody expects that it's easy, because it's not. I think misconception people have. I think they assume, I would think too that, I would say a common misconception is some people would think that it takes a lot of weeks and months of planning. I have created and worked with people who have done large-scale events in a week's time. And that is mainly because they have had experience and they built a roster of vendors that know what to expect and know how to flip an event really fast. But I did a brand launch where we got a call on a Thursday, and on Sunday it was done, and you would have never known. There are some events that do require, I just did a walkthrough today for a 2029 event, and it is 2025 today. You get that, which is crazy, but then you also get some that are within a week's time, and it is just as large of a scale. It is stressful, and it is, you don't get much sleep, but it is fun. With so much focus on social buzz, how do you make sure the energy still connects on a personal level? Connects on a personal level. There's a lot of vendors now that do like aura readings, or they'll do like personal photo booths and things like that. So a lot of vendors in events will do personalized kind of, I don't know what you call it, like personalized moments. And that's been really cool to see. There was one event where somebody would walk through a kitchen, they would pick out random ingredients, and then they would have a personalized cocktail made for them based on those ingredients. So I think when you have these little breakout moments that go from a grand scale into a minor scale, and it speaks to the person individually, that's been a huge takeaway that I think people really enjoy. When you walk into a finished event before guests arrive, or when you walk into a finished event, when you walk into the finished event before guests arrive, what detail tells you this is going to be a good night? Chaos. Honestly, if it's chaotic and, is it chaos? I think depending on the scale of the event, it's kind of, when you say, I would attend this party, that's when it's gonna be a good night. When you can look at the space, look at the setup and say, would I be bored? Would I have fun? Do I wanna be a guest right now? That's when I know it's gonna be a good night. You've produced everything from private celebrations to influencer-filled premieres. What kind of setting challenges you the most? Anytime you're activating on a street or a public area, when you have to pull permits, you need to get city approval, you need to have building and safety inspectors, fire departments. There always seems to be something that comes up that you didn't think of. If you've done the same event a million times in the same space, something random pops up that you've never heard of before, and you're just putting out fires. That's a wrap.